This is your no-nonsense recap for Chainsaw Man Season 1. Subscribe for more coverage on the Rize Arc film and Chainsaw Man Season 2 news and content. In the 1990s, our story follows Denji, a poverty-stricken boy working as a devil hunter for the Yakuza to pay off his dead father's debt, to the point that he is even selling his body parts on the black market to keep the Yakuza at bay. This leads us to the setup, in which we are shown just how desperate of a situation, or rather how desperate of an existence Denji's life is. In other words, how bleak and dark it is. After he kills the Tomato Devil, Denji is still left with no money after paying his debts. This is here to show that he is living within this world where it is miserable, pitiful, and everyone seems to just further exploit his situation. While Denji doesn't treat this as a big deal, which is a common thing in Chainsaw Man, a fantastic example is when he is so desperate he eats a cigarette for just 100 yen. This is further shown in that he has very simple, almost childishly simple dreams. In his home, a rundown shack, Denji shares his bread with his devil dog, the good boy, Pochita, and expresses his simple dreams. Eat bread with some good-ass jam and find a girl with a good-ass find a girl whatever. He then remembered the contract that he forged with Pochita. He recalls how he first met Pochita desperate, wounded, and simply on the verge of death. There, he formed a contract. Denji gives Pochita his blood, and in return, Pochita helps him survive, metaphorically becoming his heart and his source of power. Also, he has a handle too, it's so cute. But eventually Denji is betrayed in a harrowing moment. Denji's Yakuza boss lures him into an abandoned warehouse and stabs him and Pochita in the back. The reason? The Yakuza have formed a contract with the Zombie Devil to unlock more power. They then dismember the two and toss them in the garbage, but Denji reawakens as a new hero. The hero of hell. Chainsaw Man is alive. Turns out Pochita has kept his promise and the contract intact. In a twist, Denji inherits a new heart from Pochita. Denji, pulling a cord from his chest, becomes a hybrid of a human and chainsaws with blades protruding from his arms and head. And as you'd guess, he very easily takes down the Zombie Devil in one of the best animated opening sequences you could probably ever ask for. But in the aftermath, the next morning, a high-ranking public safety devil hunter, Makima, arrives on the scene. There she finds the wounded and exhausted Denji. As he begins to fall, Makima catches him and holds him close in a hug, which causes his chainsaws to melt away. From there, he is given two choices: die by her hand as a devil, or live as her pet. Denji, being simple-minded, is promised with the simple prospect of breakfast in the morning and agrees eagerly. Denji is now her pet. After promptly feeding her dog, Makima brings Denji to Public Safety HQ in Tokyo. Denji is completely smitten with Makima and expresses how excited he is to get to work with her. However, it is Denji who is the unwelcomed partner. The sharp-eyed Makima introduces Denji to one top-knot Aki Hayakawa, another professional devil hunter. Their first assignment together is a patrol, during which Aki confronts and even beats up Denji, telling him it would be a better option to quit for his own safety. But Denji, being Denji-pilled, completely misinterprets Aki's intentions, as he is also trying to get close to Makima, and a quick fight begins and ends with a low blow by Denji, declaring that he will not go back down after the new leash on life was given to him. After the brawl, they both return with both of them telling Makima they did not get along. Makima, however, ignores that and instead places Denji in Aki's experimental squad, telling Denji he will be executed if he is to not do what he is told. Later on a mission, Denji kills a fiend with an axe instead of using his chainsaws. This leads into an argument where Aki scolds him for not taking the threat of a devil more seriously as they take human lives. Denji, not really understanding what is happening to him, decides that he needs a goal to fondle some breasts. This then leads to yet another introduction from Makima, the new member in Aki's team, Power, the Blood Fiend. Initially, Denji is surprised to find that a fiend can also hunt devils, but because he wants to fondle some tits, he is excited to work with her. But it eventually ends in Power going wild and killing the Sea Cucumber Devil in a mad fit of chaos and anarchy. Episode 3 picks up with a rocky start. Following the unauthorized killing of the sea cucumber devil, which in reality belonged to a civilian hunter, Makima punishes Power and Denji. Bad girl and bad boy, Makima said. However, Power, being who she is, tries to blame Denji, which then ends up with Mother getting oh so tired of her dumb children and forces them to reconcile, ordering the two to work together. This then leads to Denji wanting to touch some boobs afterwards when the perfect situation strikes. Power will let Denji fondle her breasts if he helps her kill the Bat Devil, which has just so happened to kidnap her cat, Meowy. They take a day off and drive to an abandoned house where the Bat Devil is hiding. This ends in Power betraying Denji via betrayal bonk. The reality, though, is that she lured Denji there to feed him to the Bat Devil in exchange for Meowy's freedom. However, in a twist, Power regrets her decision. The Bat Devil eats Meowy, as we are shown a flashback to a more feral time for Power. Before being captured by Makima and public safety, she roamed free as more of a feral animal than a devil. Her plan was to fatten Meowy up and then eat the cat. Instead, she ended up growing to love Meowy. And now, after finally experiencing it herself, she tells Denji that she understands his feeling of loss over Pochita as the Bat Devil grabs her and swallows her. But Denji isn't done yet. He clings on to the Bat Devil out of his sheer unbridled desire to touch some soft fat. And because Denji also has a heart and empathizes with Power, of course. But this leads to a fight in the city where he is able to retract his blades, which allows him to throw a car and save a couple of citizens. Sadly, since there was a man in one of the cars, the man almost died, as Denji doesn't care about saving men, of course. Denji emerges victorious as his dream of touching boobs was more powerful than whatever the Bat Devil's was. Some other notable scenes in this episode that I liked were when Makima is reminded to not get attached to her squad members, as they are to be used as tools in the new global threat of devils being weaponized. And as well, Aki questioning Makima's interest in Denji. And according to her, Denji is the chainsaw devil, explaining that a devil's power is tied to the fear of its name. Aki still doesn't understand, though, what value Makima sees in Denji. He just sees a boy lacking proper resolve for the job. Power keeps her promise and honors her deal and permits the human Denji to fondle her boobies. But not right now, because as Denji celebrates, the Leech Devil, who is the Bat Devil's lover, ambushes them, severing Denji's arm in the process. Now, with a significant amount of lost blood, Denji can only summon one chainsaw on his head. Still, he fights to protect Power and Meowy because he wants to cop a feel. Also believing that his dream to touch tits is a valid one, which, honestly, yeah. But just as Leech is about to kill Denji due to his weakened state, Aki Hayakawa, his partner, saves him and uses Kun via his contracted devil, the Fox Devil. Though, using it does cost him some of his flesh, so yeah. Afterwards, Aki explains that in devil hunting, making contracts with devils and trading a person's body for their power is commonplace, and as well, thanks to a blood transfusion, Denji's arm is reattached. Aki then gives the two idiots a choice. Do as he says or be put down along with Power. And of course, Denji agrees to Aki's terms. Though, as a consequence, Makima then assigns Power to live with Aki and Denji. And firsthand, they experience Power in all of her something. She's messy, unhygienic, and worst of all, she refuses to eat her vegetables. But despite that, it looks as if Denji will get to touch some stinky boobs. Denji's long-awaited moment of fondling Power's breasts that he couldn't wait to revel in is a letdown. Partly due to her use of breast pads for enhancements, the experience leaves him feeling empty and questioning if achieving his dreams will always be this disappointing. Oh, Denji, you sweet summer child. While working with Makima, Denji confesses his disillusionment to touching boobs. What a thing to say. In response, Makima teases him, allowing him to touch her breast. Overwhelmed, this experience leaves him, well, captivated, of course, showing that it isn't just about touching the boobs, but is more about having an intimate connection, which can make the experience more memorable. Seizing the moment, Makima gives Denji a new, monumental objective. Kill the gun devil! And in exchange, she promises to grant him any single wish, which, If it were me, I mean, Makima's hot and all, but I'll write a strongly worded letter letting her know my decision. Makima explains the Gun Devil's history. It appeared 13 years ago and killed over 1 million people across the globe in just 5 minutes, including Aki's family, before mysteriously vanishing. Its attack led to a worldwide ban on firearms. Public safety hunts the Gun Devil by tracking fragments of its body. Aki and Himeno are shown securing one such piece as an example, solidifying Aki's personal vendetta. The team of Aki, Denji, Power, Himeno, Arai, and Kobeni is dispatched to a hotel where a devil that has consumed a Gun Devil fragment is hiding. To motivate the rookie hunters and to introduce the real best girl of Chainsaw Man, besides the many other best girls of Chainsaw Man, Himeno offers a kiss on the cheek to whoever kills the target. For Denji, she specifically ups the ante, promising a French kiss. Ooh. How can this single-celled organism say no to such a thing? A flashback reveals how Himeno became Aki's mentor, meeting him at a cemetery for the Gun Devil's victims. She, having lost 6 previous partners, made him promise not to die. This highlights the strong emotional bond Himeno wants and does have with Aki, playing up, of course, the episode's theme thus far. The team enters the hotel. Himeno reveals her contract with the Ghost Devil, using an invisible hand to subdue a small head-like devil, which Power promptly just destroys. The team soon realizes they are trapped on the 8th floor by the devil's power. No matter which way they go, they end up back in the same place, causing Kobeni to make loud noises. The team confirms they are trapped on the 8th floor, cut off from the outside world as all of the clocks have stopped. While Kobeni panics and Arai, growing restless, Denji's traumatic experiences and life experience allows him to remain calm enough to take a nap. Himeno shares a flashback with Denji, revealing how she and Aki had bonded. After she was slapped by a grieving girlfriend of a dead partner, Aki got some pretty petty revenge for her. This led to her asking him to start smoking as a symbol of their renewed partnership and friendship. Aki then locates the Eternity Devil, which has now grown into a massive, monstrous wall of flesh blocking their path. It offers the hunters a contract. It will release everyone if they feed Denji to it. Offer splits them. A terrified Kobeni immediately tries to sacrifice Denji, while Arai later votes for it, believing that Denji's contract is binding. Aki and Himeno refuse, suspecting a trick. The Eternity Devil reveals it grows stronger and larger based on the fear of those trapped within it. The team's rising panic, culminating in a screaming fit from Arai, causes the devil to swell in size and become more aggressive. As the situation deteriorates, Kobeni and Arai, in a frenzied state, attack Denji. Aki intervenes and is stabbed in the process, explaining that he needs Denji alive as a powerful ally to achieve his goal of killing the Gun Devil. Seeing Aki wounded for his sake, Denji takes charge. He orders Power to stop Aki's bleeding and deduces that the Eternity Devil's specific demand for him means it fears his power. So Denji makes a decision. Instead of waiting to be fed to the devil, he will take the fight to it, leaping directly into the Eternity Devil's mouth to destroy it from the inside. Denji begins shredding the Eternity Devil from the inside. He deduces that while the devil is immortal, it can feel pain and plans to torture it until it surrenders or commits suicide. The battle becomes a grueling cycle of mutilation and regeneration. Denji discovers that he can sustain himself by drinking the Eternity Devil's blood, allowing him to fight relentlessly for 3 days. Now, watching Denji's insane fighting style, Himeno has a flashback to her mentor, Kishibe, the GOAT, who stated that the best devil hunters are those who are mentally unhinged. She realizes Denji, not Aki, might be the one who can kill the Gun Devil without getting himself killed. So, after 3 days of relentless torment, the broken Eternity Devil begs for death, willingly revealing its heart to Denji, who then destroys it, ending the whole ordeal. The team, instead of going to a mental health facility, go to a restaurant to celebrate. Kobeni and Arai are completely absent, having quit the bureau out of trauma and guilt. But the mood is light, though a veteran hunter's casual mentions of his partner's death shows that the job has constant danger, along with the obvious. A very drunk Himeno fulfills her promise of a French kiss to Denji. Makima then joins the drinking party, effortlessly remaining sober while everyone else gets super duper wasted. and her presence causes Denji internal conflict about the kiss with Himino. And she coolly deflects Aki's questions about her interest in Denji. However, she vomits into his mouth mid-kiss, which a malnourishment-conditioned Denji instinctively swallows before running to the bathroom in horror. Like a very, very good role model, Himino takes the passed-out Denji to her apartment. Still heavily intoxicated, she kisses him again and bluntly offers to just fuck him, complaining in the process about what he and Aki see in Makima. In Himino's apartment, Denji refuses her drunken sexual advantage, good for him, remembering the indirect kiss he shared with Makima via a lollipop the night before, which kind of, I guess you could say, keeps him abstinent. Is that the word? But anyways, he wishes to save his virginity for Makima, showing that he now understands the difference between someone he likes and doesn't like and how he'd feel likely nothing with Himino. Oof. The next morning, a sober and embarrassed Himino doesn't really remember the events, so she and Denji form a top-secret alliance, pledging to help each other romance their respective crushes, which is Aki and Makima, of course, officially becoming friends in the process. The Gun Devil initiates a city-wide operation to eliminate public safety devil hunters. Civilians under its influence simultaneously pull out guns and assassinate hunters across Tokyo. On a train to Kyoto, Makima is among those gunned down. So, while eating ramen with Aki in power, Denji and Himino are confronted by a man who reveals himself as the grandson of Denji's former Yakuza boss. He declares, "The Gun Devil wants your heart," before shooting Denji in the head and Himino in the chest. Not the boobs. The assassin, Katana Man, is revealed to be a human-devil hybrid when he survives being eaten by Aki's Fox Devil and tears his way out. Aki engages Katana Man, using his contract with the Cursed Devil, by stabbing his opponent 3 times, activating a countdown that ends with the Cursed Devil tearing Katana Man apart. Aki's victory is, though, short-lived. A woman named Akane Sawatari arrives, revives Katana Man using her Snake Devil, and orders him to finish the job. Aki is critically wounded, so to save Aki, a dying Himino offers her entire body to the Ghost Devil in a final contract. The Ghost Devil manifests in its full, powerful form and overwhelms Katana Man. In response, Sawatari summons the Snake Devil to devour the Ghost Devil. The contract is fulfilled, and Himino completely vanishes from existence, leaving only her clothing behind. The Ghost Devil's final, autonomous hand pulls Denji's ripcord, reviving him as Chainsaw Man. He immediately attacks Katana Man and Sawatari, embracing the freedom to brutally fight bad guys. Despite a fierce fight, Denji is sliced in half by Katana Man. Sawatari's team loads his torso into a van to transport him, commenting that most of the other human Division 4 members are likely already dead. On the train to Kyoto, Makima is revealed to have survived the assassination attempt, having killed all of her attackers. She, with her patent coolness, meets her Kyoto subordinates, Kurose and Tendo, who is my wife Dibs, and immediately begins orchestrating a counterattack. Makima performs a ritual at a high-altitude shrine. Using death row inmates as sacrificial pawns, she forces them to recite the names of the Gun Devil's operatives, causing the named individuals to be violently crushed by an unseen force from a distance. As Sawatari and Katana Man panic from Makima's remote killings, Kobeni arrives in all of her glory, and in a shocking display of skill that to this day has the Chainsaw Man fandom wondering who is she contracted with, she fights them off, severing Katana Man's arm and forcing the pair to flee, saving Denji's remains. Alone with Denji's torso, a traumatized, which is honestly just normal state Kobeni, apologizes for trying to kill him in the hotel. The stress and grief over Arai's death causes her to break down into hysterical laughter, and she resolves to quit once more. Makima returns to Tokyo and is briefed by a resigning Madoka. He reveals that the human members of Division 1 through 4 were almost entirely wiped out, and the higher-ups are merging the divisions under Makima's sole command. Her calm smile suggests this outcome was not entirely unforeseen by her. In the hospital, Aki learns from Denji and Power that only Kobeni and Madoka survived the attack from the human members of their team. Alone, he breaks down crying over Himino's death. Denji realizes that Himeno's death didn't sadden him, leading him to question if fusing with Pochita has stripped him of his humanity, as he fears he wouldn't truly mourn anyone's death, even Makima's. Makima introduces Denji and Power to Kishibe, a legendary devil hunter from the Special Division 1 and the former mentor to both Aki and Himeno. He tests their motives, approving of their selfish but honest answers. Kishibe's training consists of repeatedly and effortlessly killing Denji and nearly killing Power. He explains that since they can regenerate with blood, he will brutalize them until they become strong enough to be his unbreakable toys. Tendo and Kurose visit Aki, confirming that the Fox Devil has abandoned him due to the injuries that it has sustained. They offer him a chance to quit, but he refuses, driven by revenge for his family and Himeno. Aki receives a visit from Himeno's sister, who gives him letters revealing that Himeno was trying to find a way to save him from his self-destructive path. After a full day of being slaughtered, Denji and Power attempt to outsmart Kishibe the next day with a pre-planned trap. Operation Super Smart. Can I just say, by the way, that from here on out, in real life, all of my own personal operations will be called Operation Super Smart. However, he effortlessly dismantles their plan, demonstrating the vast gap in their skill and smart. Meanwhile, Aki is taken to a secret facility housing capturing devils. To regain the power needed for his vengeance, he is instructed to form a contract with the powerful and unpredictable Future Devil. Unlike previous contractors who gave up body parts, the Future Devil agrees to lend its power in exchange for residing in Aki's right eye. Excited by the vision of Aki's worst way possible death in the future, Kishibe ends Denji and Power's intensive training, noting that they have improved because he only received a single scratch. He shifts their sessions to weekly and informs them of an imminent raid to capture Sawatari and Katana Man, warning that failure will result in the division's dissolution and their deaths. Makima meets with a Yakuza boss to get the names of all members who collaborated with the Gun Devil. When he refuses, she reveals that she has the eyeballs of all of his colleagues' family members, using this horrific leverage to secure the information. Public Safety launches a full-scale assault on the Yakuza building housing the Gun Devil agents. Kishibe coordinates from the outside, introducing the new, almost entirely non-human Special Division 4, which includes fiends like the Sharp Fiend, Beam, aka Best Boy, Violence Fiend, Spider Devil, and Angel Devil, who is Best Twink. The team fights through a basement horde of zombies left by the Zombie Devil. We see the new members' abilities in action. Beam devours zombies, the Angel Devil absorbs lifespans through touch, and Aki efficiently cuts through the undead with his new future sight. Aki confronts Akane Sawatari, who uses the Snake Devil to regurgitate the Ghost Devil, now under her control. She turns Himeno's former partner against Aki. Using the Future Devil's foresight, though, Aki initially holds his own against the Ghost Devil, predicting and dodging its attacks. However, he is ultimately overwhelmed by its countless arms and is caught in a deadly chokehold. Trapped by the Ghost Devil, Aki remembers Himeno's lesson that it hunts by sensing fear. By letting go of his terror and focusing on a easy revenge cigarette left by a phantom of Himeno, he becomes invisible to it, allowing him to decapitate the devil. As Sawatari tries to counterattack, Kobeni appears, holding her at knife point. When Aki asks why she didn't quit, Kobeni pragmatically states that she was close to earning a bonus. Denji confronts Katana Man on a moving train. After losing both arms and his head chainsaw, Denji feigns defeat, using a hidden chainsaw that grew from his leg. He slices Katana Man in two, remembering Kishibe's lesson, prey should never trust what the hunter says. After capturing the defeated Katana Man, Denji proposes a tournament with Aki to avenge Himeno, taking turns kicking him in the gonads, with the winner being the one who elicits the loudest of screams from Katana Man. Aki, initially a little reluctant, agrees, seeing it as a fitting requiem for Himeno. Before she can reveal more about the Gun Devil, Sawatari is killed by her own Snake Devil, likely as an involuntary suicide clause in her contract to prevent information leaks. Makima reports that the Gun Devil fragments collected from the agents are now substantial enough to begin pinpointing the main body's location, setting the stage for the next major arc. Denji has a recurring dream of a mysterious door. Pochita's voice from the other side urgently warns him never to open it.
Denji 君はさ、田舎のネズミと都会のネズミ、どっちがいい?
Before you go, if you are caught up to Chainsaw Man's manga, then subscribe to Bento for weekly coverage from new chapters along with bonus content of other Tatsuki Fujimoto works such as Look Back, Goodbye Eri, and for the first time, I am reacting to Fire Punch chapter by chapter, volume by volume. As well, subscribe to this channel for coverage on the Rize Bomb arc, including 2 massive video essays that you do not want to miss. If you made it to the end of the video, comment a pair of nice, succulent blue hearts. As well, enjoy my content further by joining my Discord server. We hang out and we talk about Chainsaw Man and a ton of other stuff there. Make it a great day or not, the choice is yours.